Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Old Time Rock and Roll. I'm your host, David Tare, where I've been featuring my personal top 3,000 songs of the rock era from 1954 to 1999. And today I'm up to song number 2564, and that one is The End of the Innocence by Don Henley. This was released in 1989, went to number 8. It was also released on his album of the same title, The End of the Innocence. And I think you guys all know Don Henley was one of the founders of the Eagles, a very famous rock group, one of the biggest rock groups of the 70s, as a matter of fact. But once Eagles broke up for the first time, I think around 1980, he began singing solo. He had a big solo career. I already featured one of his songs, so I'm not going to do another profile on him. But anyway, just suffice it to say, he was a very, very successful musician, both as a solo performer and with the Eagles. And anyway, I guess that's pretty much all I have to say about Don Henley. But I want to talk a little bit more about this. Here's a picture of him, by the way. But I want to talk a little bit more about this song, The End of the Innocence. I just learned this today, actually. I looked this up. For one thing, The End of the Innocence was written by Bruce Hornsby, Bruce Hornsby and the Range. I guess he was a pretty prolific songwriter. Not only did he have several hits on his own, but he also wrote some pretty significant hit songs for some other artists, including a few I've already featured. He wrote Jacob's Ladder for Huey Lewis and the News, and I guess he also wrote this one for Don Henley. And, his songs are pretty deep and meaningful, I'd say. But I don't really like the message of this song so much. I just looked this up. I was trying to look up what the meaning of this song was, and basically it's just about how the whole baby boom generation kind of let go of their dreams from when they were young. And I never did. I mean, I guess you could call me a late baby boomer because I was born in 1962. You know, uh, and I still embrace a lot of the values of that generation. I mean, if I had been, born 10 years earlier, I would have demonstrated against Vietnam. And I don't know if I ever would have outgrown a lot of my views. Maybe I would have grown up. I have grown up in some ways. I mean, I understand some of what they were, Don Henley was singing about in this song because, basically the end of the innocence means you've grown up. And one thing about the baby boomers, we did kind of live a privileged life, most of us. I mean, our parents were pretty affluent and they provided for us when we were young, and a lot of us rebelled against our parents, including me. I went through a very, very long rebellion period against my mom. I finally got over it. I'm getting therapy, and I think I finally resolved all the issues of anger I've had towards her my whole life, and now I love her. I didn't think I'd ever say this before, but now I do love you unconditionally, Mom, despite all the shit you put me through. I mean, it's fine because, we all suffer in various ways. And at some point, we just have to grow up. We just have to, kind of bite the bullet and say life's a fact. And whatever should happen to us when we're growing up, we have to take care of it ourselves from now on. It's too bad that it took me until I was 62 to learn this lesson. But I want to say a little bit more. I mean, I think that it's better to not let go of at least part of your childhood dreams, because dreams can come true. I mean, if Leonardo da Vinci hadn't dreamed of building a flying machine, we might have not ever had one. I mean, hold on tight to your dreams. That's another famous song by the Electric Light Orchestra. There's something about what happened to the baby boomers in the '80s that I really don't like. And I'm just going to preach a little bit. I hope I don't offend too many people here. But I don't know how many of you guys saw the movie The Big Chill. I really was not crazy about that movie at all. But I think that movie pretty much embraced that whole generation during the 1980s. It was about these six people who had all been kind of rebels in the 60s that all went to the University of Michigan. They show up for their friend's funeral. I guess they had a friend that killed himself. He was a genius, but he killed himself because I guess he just kind of gave up hope in life. I know the feeling because I fantasized about suicide myself. but I've made it, But what I didn't like about that movie was I just didn't like the values they had in that movie. I mean, most of them were lawyers or businessmen. I mean, they kind of changed their views about life and almost went in the opposite direction, embracing money and embracing power. And I never did that, and I'm glad I didn't. I mean, I did vote for Reagan in 1980, but that's the only time in my life I've ever voted Republican. I still embrace a lot of the liberal values I grew up with. I'm glad I do, especially with Trump right now. I think we need to return to some of the 60s values. So I think that's one thing that Bruce Hornsby got wrong on this song. Just from my own personal point of view. You guys might disagree with me, you know, but anyway, that's all I have to say about the end of the Innocence by Don Henley. So anyway, thank you for watching. You guys rock, and I'll see you next time. Bye.